for Fat Burger Gulp. Cool iPhone, iPad game, universal code, little tutorial. Hopefully, can help you out so you don't have to waste so much time figuring out where everything is to change. All right. So here is your main folder where you're going to change most of your images. You got your icon, background for the game, launch image. I've got the same. Obviously, you can change it, maybe like your own logo or something. This is the main ball, the object that falls. It's a burger. This is a smushed burger because it's the collapsed image. Your character, so it's going to be catching or eating your object, and then your game over character, which I've just got him tilted a little bit so you can see that it's something different. You can change, all this out, the mute stuff, but if you're going to change those buttons out, I hope you have a little experience in the storyboard of projects, or the storyboards, I guess. If not, get somebody to help you. So the red ball would be the one to avoid. In this case, it's an apple, because the guy is fat and he doesn't want an apple, he wants burgers. So here's a few other buttons, and remember to note these images, these three images. We're going to talk about them later. I guess in general, if you want to add new things to your images, to your storyboard, or new buttons, open this up, open up a folder, or if it's at your desktop, wherever you have the images you want to use, and drag them in here, and they will then show up later for you to insert onto the storyboard or drag over. So this is where you want to drag them. These are some of your main sounds. You don't have to rename them. Just bring in, let's say this is on your desktop. Just rename your sound, whatever you want to use, your sound, to this, but it's got to be in a different folder or not in this folder. And then when you go to drag it in here, it'll say, do you want to replace it? And then you'll want to say yes. Of course, you can rename all this, but you'd have to find it in the code, which this isn't easy to find. This is easy to find these, but a lot of times if you're renaming files, images and sounds, sometimes they're in other areas of the code, and you can screw things up and see a bunch of red errors, and those aren't fun. So I usually just keep it simple and use the same names. But if you're not in the project, you want to find your storyboard. Here's iPad. Here's the main one. And I think that's about it. Let me just go ahead and make sure there's nothing else. No, okay. Let's go ahead and open this thing up. All right. So IDs to replace is going to be the main file you're going to be in when you're doing all your changes. There's some notes here for you. This whole area is all things you can customize. Let's just look at a few of them. The speed of the ball, so how quick. This is a cool one. How quick it gets harder. How quick, I guess, the frequency of the balls or the objects. I keep saying balls. Let me just say balls because it's the object, but that's kind of how it was set up, just to be simple. So the thing, whatever's falling, this is how quick it goes ahead and gets harder throughout the waves of the game. And then this would be the speed of those objects falling. The delay in between the wave is 2 seconds. I think I've got it set up for 30. So here's 30. So this is how many things fall that you have to catch before there's a little 2-second pause. So you can change this, you can change the delay. This right here, you can change how high the character comes up. Like if here's the, well, if you can just see this right here, it's how far he comes up. Now, I think it jumps pretty quick. I did do some changes a little bit, and I just ended up putting it back where it was. Because, I wanted it about right here. If you want it up here, it's even going to be harder because you're not going to be able to react. But then again, you can change all the other settings. But in general, it's set up to be playable and fun and hard at the same time. You can, change all that up if you want. So red ball, that's the apple. It's the thing you have to avoid. If you don't avoid it, you lose. It's the game's over, your streak's over. So I've got every 15 times a cheeseburger falls, an apple's going to fall. Here are those sound names. These are the only places I think they're referenced, because I think other areas of the code it's referenced as this. So you can change the names. And I know you can change the names because if you want to come in here and add like sound 3, you really can. If you read this, you can, so what this means is every time you start the game, or every time you die, or the game's over, this is the start, it'll make this sound. And the next time, it'll make this sound. So if you want it to not be so monotonous and boring, you can add more sounds. I've only added 2. I could probably added quite a bit more, and I'm sure I will with an update, but that's all I have for now. So, need to be there. Down here, I'm sure you've seen all this before. And I know a lot of people are going to laugh with my in-app purchase IDs and my bundle ID in the game and stuff like that. It's really funny because I don't do the reverse domain thing. I never really saw the point of it to make it confusing, especially when I'm searching for stuff on my computer. So this is how I do it. It's non-consumable. Remove ads. Your ad mob. And then if you want to set up the analytics, it's kind of like Flurry. I haven't used it, that much. Other games I've set it up, but so you can put in that ID there. Got your chart boost and a little local notification. Your app ID numbers. Replace those. Your leaderboard. Your share strings here. This is for the Facebook. So go ahead and I always do this if I'm reskinning a game. I mean, I would come in and I would search to make sure I got everything that had to do with somebody else's game or theme. So we'll go ahead and change that. Here is my link. And I went to GeoRiot, my actual iTunes, the link for the app, and shortened it up. And then this explains how you can get your little image, so you don't even have to host your image somewhere else. You can grab it right from the iTunes account to share. Because it's already there, because you already uploaded your icon, probably to set up your, well, you actually don't have to set that up like you used to in iTunes Connect, but when you set up your new app. So that's about it for in there. The only other thing I'm going to go over, I didn't mention this. So however many times you want an ad to show, like let's say you're playing and comes down, you lose. I've got it set up so every 4 times that happens, an ad shows. And I've also got app loving and chart boost double popping. I don't really have it happening like that, but they're set up in the placements for that. I think so. Yeah, right here. So I don't have to come into the code or submit an update to Apple to just change if I want to do chart boost or app loving. And a lot of times people put even like RevMob in here and Playhaven. Well, I think Playhaven usually you set that up a little different, but or upsite. So what I do is I've got the placements. So when you first do this, actually, if you don't change the IDs and you test it, it'll just have whatever I have going, which is going to be one of them. Right now it's app loving. So I usually pause, whichever one I'm not using, switch them up, whatever the ad network that's doing the best for me at that time. So anyway, last thing I want to go over, and I keep saying that, but is basically the storyboard. So we've got it set up to where the background image is behind this. So when you go into in here, that will be there. Okay, in this image, this background image, whatever you decide to use, is going to be throughout the game. So it'll be here. The This is when you're playing the game, it'll be here, and it'll also be on the game over. So don't worry about this game over. Anything that looks out of theme, it's okay. This was for something else, another project that had different layouts, and so it had two results for the game over. And also here, you don't have to do that. It was literally like a layout change. So don't worry about that. Just worry about right here, this screen. That's a game screen. Game over. And don't worry about how to play the tutorial because I've removed the button because honestly I don't think you need a tutorial on how to move a character back and forth and catch things out of the sky or wherever they're falling from. So if you want to come in here, a lot of times, like a lot of other apps I've seen, reskins, code, people will just set this up and have one image, and then what you'll do is you would have came in here and there would have been a folder called like title, and then it would have had like 5 sizes for the title, and every time I did that I have to create one size, and then you're changing. A lot of times if you don't want to do separate files, you're in there and you're stretching them and it's fine and it looks funny and it doesn't look very professional or good. So for what I wanted to do on this app, or what I wanted to do, not for what I wanted to do, we just did it in here, storyboard, because of scales. So you can come in here, change the name of whatever your app is. You've got the tons of different fonts and colors and effects, but I just kept it simple. Got 3 text boxes, 2 image boxes. If you do want to do what I mentioned and then just not care how it scales, or you make it simple, hit this button here. Already went past it. Easy. There it is. No, I didn't go past it. Drag image view over here. So you can set this up and then go to your iPad and do the same thing. And then come back here. So earlier when I was saying, remember these images? This one, the other one, and then the leaderboard one. Right here, leaderboard 2. Remember? Right here. So if you want to add any custom images, menu buttons, anything you want to include, drag it right here off your desktop out of another folder, wherever you keep it. Then you might have to quit Xcode and open it back up like I mentioned, but then you could just bring it in here. Now, one thing I do have to mention, so you can see the name of it, it's found it, so it's on scale to fit. And you can change this to aspect fit. Aspect fill. This would probably be what I would use. But I also wouldn't have a menu button for a title, even if I was going to put a logo in there. So get rid of that. So I've just added 2 smaller ones, and then honestly just drug in parts of the game, put it in there. And that's it. So you can change any of this. Don't delete this. Don't hit delete. Don't do that. Because if you do, and you got undo here, you got edit undo, but then if you close it, the autosave is going to get you, and then you're going to be screwed. You're going to have to open up your project again and start over, unless you just back up these 2 files, separately, copy them. But I think that, about wraps it up. Create as many custom menu buttons as you want, or use these. If you want to change the color, here's the color. If you want to change the font, here, the size. You can do the same for this. But I am going to warn you, if you've never done this, it's not that it's hard, it's just you got to be careful what you're dragging around. You get a hold of this and you drag this off the screen, and then your game is going to be off the screen a little bit. You drag this somewhere stupid, it's not going to look right. So be careful when you're clicking. I'm sure you've had to hear all these clicks that I've done. It's been annoying. But if you're clicking around here real quick, you could screw some stuff up. So I do recommend that if you were going to drag an image, here every time. Even if there's like lag in your computer or something, I bring it. I don't drag it across 3 different screens. I bring it right here, back of the image, throw it in there. I don't screw around with that because I've messed it up. I've had to rebuild projects from scratch, and look there. See, I almost did something right there. See, it's that easy to screw it up. Anyway, that's about it. You have any questions? Shoot us an email. It should be good. If you, I'm sure when you come in, you might have to go to capabilities and hit on or fix issue, that or the iCloud or the in-app purchase. Just make sure every time I'm getting ready to submit an app, I come down through here, all these, and I make sure, don't turn any others on, but I make sure that there's no red. Your app loading key, copy and replace that. Your bundle display, what's under the icon, get that. If you're going to do Facebook, there's a Facebook ID. Obviously get your, and that's how I do my profiles too. I don't screw around with that reverse domain stuff, but make sure you got all that set up. That's about it. Make sure this is here. Get your version all ready. And again, the guys that have done this a million times, sorry, but when I was first starting out, it would have been awesome to have a free video like this, just to see, even not even for the app I was working on, just to see how this is, works behind the scenes. So I'm doing this for the specific app. Also, if you want to rename, which it doesn't really matter, but if you want to, come in here, rename it. It'll auto save everything, and then come up, and you're going to still see Fat Burger Gulp. So click here, manage schemes, click on it, delete it, auto recreate, and then yours will say like custom game. That's all you. So no more Fat Burger Gulp. That's about it. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the purchase. If you haven't purchased it and you're on the fence, have a question, like I said, shoot us an email. But you've got the tutorial, you've got simple gameplay, you've got proven gameplay that people like, and I've added in the extra of having something you have to dodge along with something you have to catch, and you've got tons of custom controls in here. Even like the size of the ball, the size of the character. I mentioned the position of the character. Tons of stuff, very organized, very simple, and it's a lot of fun. So have a great day and good luck.